Welcome to An Aries and Pisces Walk Into a Coffee Shop, the podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Bridget, she, her.
And I'm Tiffany, she, her. This is a podcast where two friends let go of perfectionism and talk unedited.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. Okay, first thing I want to say before, because I don't want to forget, happy anniversary to us.
Oh, that's right.
Because you sent me a text a little while ago and said happy anniversary, and I was like, oh my God, that's right. Not the anniversary of our posting, like first posting, but the anniversary of our first recording. And I think that I'll always remember it because it turned into the name of our podcast, because I was talking about that situation and you described it as like the cusp between like Pisces and Aries season. And that's how it happened.
And here we are. That's so funny because I forgot that I texted that to you a little while ago. And I was just thinking earlier today about time and cyclical nature. And I told you earlier I was feeling very indecisive and like, I don't know what to talk about, even though I wanted to see you because I'm going through a hard time.
You are going through a hard time.
And then I was just like, this has been going on a while. Last Pisces season was really hard because I had tricked myself this past week where I'm like, oh, that new moon in Pisces was just really rough. But that's okay. Like, it was just the new moon in Pisces that was rough. And then it occurred to me, well, no, all of last Pisces season was also really hard. And then I was like, oh, we're doing the cyclical nature. Like, all the things that I had started in that Pisces season are now being wrapped up, heavy quotes. But like, a lot of the things are done, but I'm still processing and integrating them. And then new stuff came in with the new moon. And so I'm like feeling like I'm going to take it less personal.
Isn't that a gift?
Which is why I like astrology, because normally that's when people ask me, like, what's your deal? Why are you so obsessed? It's normally because it helps me take things less personal.
What's your deal? What's your deal?
Yeah. I'm just like, look, I'm just trying to get some meaning in this wide open abyss of a world. Let me have this.
Yeah. I just love the way that you said that so much, because I think that I can't picture saying that in that way to you. Like, what's your deal? Like, what's your deal? What's your deal? And that's just sounds really funny to me. I am now that you've said all of that, it's making me think like, oh yeah, what was going on a year ago that we were talking about? Because I'm like, my recall right now is not on very well. And I wonder if I were to go back and be like, what were we talking about? Like, what were we to see, like the things that were going on in my life at that time. One, I was going to say insignificant, but maybe it's significant. You let me know what you think. The thing is, specifically from the whole Barnes and Noble of it all and the cookie, and like the reason why, right? Like the whole thing that like kicked this off. The cookie. I was obsessed, so obsessed with that cookie. And now, can't fucking stand it. Don't want it. I even tried it I don't know, weeks ago, a couple months ago, I don't know. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll give it a go. No, wasn't even good. I don't even think I
No.
finished it. And I was like, this is crazy because I was so obsessed with that cookie. I was like, there's never been a better cookie. I enjoyed it so much and I ate so many of them. And then I got to this point where I'm like, no, I don't even want to see it in front of me. And I will tell you that like this is not an isolated incident. This happens to me with food. I saw a video that like, is this an ADHD thing or is it just like a quirk that is, you know,
Mm-hmm.
happens in people that are like this? I don't know. But in any event, I know that I would go back and I would hear me gushing about this fucking cookie and be like, puke.
I don't have that anymore. I have seen videos like that where, and it's normally an ADHD femme who talks
Mm-hmm.
about how they had like the comfort food, the dopamine delivery system thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then all excited, sit down to eat that thing, and then go, oh no, it's done. It's like, I don't have it anymore. This, not only do I not like this anymore, but I'm actively disgusted by it. And I'm just like, and so I
Why?
keep on, I don't, well, something about the dopamine receptors in your brain, I guess. And I'm trying to remember if I have things like that. But I think I spent so much of my life being so confounded by a lot of things that it's so funny because I find myself to be a very curious person. But every once in a while, I'll be shocked at how nonchalant I was about something that is, in fact, weird. And I would just like accept it without any question and just move on with the rest of my life. And now that I'm saying that, oh my God, I thought of one.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, I would have and I can't even remember exactly what it was. And sorry, I'm almost tasting it, but it's kind of grossing me out. It was a cracker cheese, like lunch meat combination that I was obsessed with when I was younger. And it would always be like a later in the evening before bed snack where I would crave it and I could not go to sleep without having that snack. And now that I'm saying it and almost like having the texture in my mouth, it's like, but I don't remember the moment it stopped.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a vague impression that there was a point in time where that combination of things made me feel sick and I stopped eating it and I never thought about it again until just now.
I'd love to tell you about a snack that I just recalled the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Because God only knows why Luke just randomly said Vienna sausages. And I was like, where did you pull that out of? And he's like, just like the recesses of my brain. It was just like in there and it wanted to come out. And I like, he's never eaten them. He doesn't have a history with them. He's not a hot dog kind of a person.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, would you like to hear this snack that I used to have at my grandparents' house? And that just a slice of bread, and you would cut the bread into like the sizes of a little Vienna sausage and top
Uh-huh.
each little piece of bread with a Vienna sausage and then top that with ketchup. And that was the snack. The thought of eating that now, revolting. No, like there's a part of my brain that says that, like nostalgic, like
Yeah.
I would, yes, I'd love that, like amazing, great. But then there's most of me now that is absolutely not.
I I have to ask this question and I hate myself for asking.
Yes.
They were not heated up Vienna sausages,
No,
right?
no.
Oh, I'm so sorry for yucking your yum, but my God,
I
because
think
my household was also a Vienna sausage household. I'm not exactly sure where it must have been my dad picked it up. We always had them, but we always like put them in the skillet.
I
And so I
think
remember
I
liking them, but only heated up. And the
I th-
idea of them not being heated or like, because we would do it to like a blister. Like you
uh-huh.
would heat them up till it was like slightly blistered. And that was like magnificent.
I don't think that I knew that you could heat them up. or that you
Yes.
would heat them up. I don't think that I knew that
And,
that
and
was a thing.
I don't know. I guess in my brain it made them a lot better. The idea is just like I keep on wanting to say the word raw, which isn't fair because like it's not raw, but that in my brain it's like just raw right out of the can, like just
I'll tell you what I did. What I did really also like was a hot dog cut up into like bite-sized rounds and
Mhm.
put that in a skillet.
Oh, okay. So yeah, similar vibes, but
Yes,
mhm.
but in my brain, those two things are very different, right? Like I would never think to put a hot dog on a piece of bread with ketchup and just eat it.
Right.
But I would never think to put a Vienna sausage in a pan and cook it. Also, when was the last time I even considered a Vienna sausage in my life? I'm not sure. I don't even know what they are and I don't want to know.
Yeah, it's probably best not to know. Um, wow. Yeah, so I guess I have had that experience. I just didn't question it because it was because I don't think that was the first time it ever happened to me, and I don't think it was the last. It's just like the example that popped into my head. Although I've had the opposite happen where something that didn't sound appetizing to me for years, all of a sudden I had a nostalgic thing and had it and was like, oh, well, this is my new thing. And it's happening to me right now. And it's that frozen French bread pizza,
Oh yeah.
like that doesn't have enough cheese on it. I don't know what happened, but, and it's very specific. It has to be cooked to the crunchy consistency and it has to have red hot sauce on it. And I don't
Wow.
that was a childhood thing. It's back. And I bought and it's like I was like, "Oh, I'll have it and I'll solve that craving and then it'll be done." No, it's not because it's all I think about. When I'm
Oh
like,
no.
I need to eat something, nothing sounds good, and I open the freezer and I'm like, "You didn't buy those. They're not here. Why do you want that? It's not even good."
It's not even good. I think that the last time I had one of those French bread pizzas to make it try to be good, I
Mhm.
put sprinkled a bunch of basil on it. But
Mm.
then my recent-ish thing with pizza is black pepper. Just
Oh,
like
nice.
crank and pepper all over it.
I mean, I do that with a lot of food, so I'm like, this does not sound surprising. Maybe I should
I
try
did
that.
I didn't grow up liking pepper. I never really
Oh,
liked
see,
pepper till maybe like a few years ago. I was
gotcha.
like never eating anything spicy or anything like that. So I was like anti-pepper. But now I'm like, ooh, black pepper tastes good.
I grew up opposite. My family was a fresh cracked black pepper family on
Mm.
everything. And we ate spicy food, but that came from my dad's family because, like, my grandmother always had a pepper grinder. And so then my parents always had a pepper grinder. And when I moved out of the house, one of the first things I did was get myself a pepper grinder. Like, I don't know how people live in a kitchen without that. It doesn't make sense to me
I now
because of how I grew up.
I'm on that same page now. So if we go somewhere to somebody's house or whatever to have dinner and they just have like a little shaker of pepper, I'm like, the fuck is this?
I'm like, well, maybe I'll trick my brain into thinking we're doing something here.
So let that be known, whoever out there's listening, when you invite me over for dinner,
Oh my
I'll
goodness,
be
I should
judging
just
your
start
pepper.
bringing. I'll just bring my own, and it's like it's ridiculous because it's like I bought it because it reminded
Oh,
me of my grandmother's.
is it
It's
a
like
big
one of the
wooden one?
uh-huh. Yeah. It's nicer looking than my grandmother's because hers was like ancient. Oh, well, we got Frisky Cat. The barometric pressure changed here in the last couple of days, and every time that happens, Ingrid loses her mind. So if you hear galloping,
Okay.
that's what's going on. She's just galloping and huffing and puffing from window to window.
Is that what's happening here too? Because our cats have been like on another level. Like
Oh, maybe they're sensitive to it too.
can't leave each other alone. Like there's fights. I'm locking them up like way more than usual. Like
Every single time the weather changes, like there's like a big drop. Like we just had 70-degree weather a couple of days ago, and it dropped to like a low 40s, I think, last night. So like that big every time, and then we got some rain and it had been sunny. So every time there's a shift like that, my sinuses freak out and Ingrid goes insane.
I love that you say she gallops because that is the thing that Chloe does. Chloe will gallop, and it's
Hmm.
the best. It's funny.
I also like, because she very rarely does it. Like even when we play, I can't get her to do it very
Yeah.
often. The only time I can get her to run is when I throw treats really far down the hallway and fast.
Mm.
She'll run after those. And then, but even then, like it's not really a full gallop. Like it's kind of a scramble, and then she'll trot back. She only
Mhm.
gallops when the weather changes.
I was gonna ask, is there a distinction between galloping and running? And
Hmm. Yeah,
yeah.
she has a couple of different modes. And I so very rarely see them because mostly it's puddle melt and sauntering. Maybe a stretch. But yeah, she doesn't exercise very often. So
Yeah,
the weather
same.
change.
I mean, same with Chloe. When she gallops, we call her the Great Galloping Chloe.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Oh, yeah, we have stuff to talk about.
Yeah. Um, I decided that I wanted to start drawing again. And I really wanted to lock down a cat. And I was like, I want to draw Chloe. And I was like,
Hmm.
I wanted, like, I could draw like Chloe lore. And just, I feel like that would bring me much joy.
I think that would bring me much joy if you care to share.
Because I was trying to think of, I think I heard somewhere some people talking about tapping back into the things that you did when you were little
Right.
in order to, I don't know, in my words, have a fulfilling life as an
Hmm.
adult, to come
Right.
back to yourself or whatever.
Hmm.
But there's a lot that like I look back on childhood on and I'm like, that all seems very dicey for me. I'm really not sure what it was that I really liked or loved because I
Mm.
developed this persona that was very like uh shy and like hiding and reserved, and I did not pursue the things that I was interested in and that I
Right.
wanted to do. So when I like look back on that, I just feel like sad because I'm like, I wasn't doing those things.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe this one, like in drawing, I can go back and like reclaim that for myself and for all the reasons why I didn't pursue it. But like
Hmm.
if I look back over the course of my whole life, there's always been doodles and drawings and times in my life where I was doing it more. And I was like, okay, I want to get back into that. And I always loved drawing stick figures. And I think the thing that I loved about drawing them was that I had a good concept of what my stick figure looked like and what it
Hmm.
could do, like what I could do with all of its limbs. And I would either have the ideas to draw them doing something, or I would, a lot of times, I had my notebook in college, and we had this one particularly crazy professor who would say insane shit. And so I would just write that shit down and then draw it.
Mm.
And so
Fun.
I loved doing that, and I was like, oh, I could do that with like Chloe because that seems more like the stick figures that I was drawing were very based on another artist that I really liked, and I was like,
Hmm.
I really want to have something that I feel like is like mine
Right.
and like my style of thing. And so I was like, I really want to nail down like a cat. Cats have always been really challenging for
Mm.
me to draw, and I don't have the same understanding of their parts and pieces and how I want them to move in the same way that I did the stick figures. So
Right.
anyway, all that to say that I was started drawing a bunch of cats that I saw online to just practice drawing cats, and I think I nailed down a clo shape.
I cannot wait to see a close shape. What a delight. I love this for you. This is so whimsical,
Oh,
which
thank
I think
you.
yeah, well, I mean, it goes along with like how funny you are. Um, and that levity thing we were talking about, but I feel like you don't do
Hmm.
whimsy often. You
I
don't
feel like
allow yourself whimsy a ton.
yeah, I'm not sure that I know whimsy.
You're starting to do it with your whole Snow White video series on Instagram with your chippies and your birdies.
I was
Um,
like, Snow White? The fuck?
yeah. Well, now you
Uh,
know what I'm talking about. Where, wildlife just alights on your hands. Hard earned. I didn't see Snow White hard earning that, but maybe that was off screen. But I feel like this is an evolution
mm,
and a really beautiful way to do something that isn't always accessible to people, because I think that that is beautiful advice to think about, when you were a kid and getting back to that kind of like magical self. But a lot of us started having that buried at a really young age. And I don't think you're alone in that at all. So
mm,
the idea of having to kind of approach it from a different angle makes a lot of sense. And now you're making me consider how I have had to do that myself, because when I started with the new therapist, my second therapist, go me,
hmm
we're talking a lot more about my childhood, because it's like IFS centered, the internal family systems. And so a lot of times when I'm talking to her, she'll ask me like how old that feels, or like what age do I think like certain things started. So I've been excavating a lot and having these very strange realizations that I haven't thought about things from my childhood in forever. Like memories are surfacing where I'm like, oh, I kind of forgot that was a fabric of my history. And it's been really, what is this feeling? Like a discombobulating, like wishy-washy feeling of like things coming in and out of focus that I'm not used to. And it feels a little dizzying,
I was
like
gonna
a little
say like
seasick.
topsy turvy.
Yeah, a
That's
little bit that. Like, okay, it's the sensation of being on a boat that's rocking in the waves, but also having like a binoculars that are going in and out of focus all at the same time. But it's just my life. Ugh, again, I'm bad at this. Give me
what?
a second. I have to turn off an alarm. So my problem is I can't keep my life straight. So I keep on setting alarms to keep my life right and then forgetting to turn them off when I don't need them anymore. And I think that's happened 3 or 4 times in a row now, probably. And that's embarrassing for me, but I have this cat.
I think it's I think you're doing a good job. I also want to show you this picture that I found that I was specifically looking for a picture of myself, and when I found the picture I was thinking of, it wasn't what I wanted, and I found this one because I was like,
Oh,
I want to tap into that energy.
yeah, that's very sweet.
That was my big bunny. My big bunny was bigger than me.
Is
And
that where the
its
bunny?
name was Big Bunny.
Well, of course. Yeah. Very literal.
That's what were you gonna ask?
Oh, I
Is
was
that one?
asking if that's where the bunny started, or did it start even earlier? Because I feel
It's
like I have a memory that you had a toy bunny from when you were born.
yeah. Do you want to see it?
That's right. Okay, I am remembering this right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Hang on.
I love show and tell time. That's very sweet. Hello. Show and
Okay.
tell time.
Show and
Here we
tell.
are.
Here's my baby bunny.
Yes, I thought I remembered this. I love that you still have that. Wow.
Yeah, and there's a picture of me as a baby. Not so that I got this in the hospital because my birthday was around Easter, and so I
Mm-hmm.
always enjoy Easter time in the stores because I just freak out at all of the bunnies. But there is a little picture of me as a baby, not like a newborn baby, but a baby that could sit up, and I
Mm-hmm.
have the bunny on my head.
Oh,
And I
that's
was
so
wearing,
cute.
I don't know if it was the same picture. I think I had a little bunny outfit. It's like a little
Mm-hmm.
pink thing with a hood.
That's very precious.
The other day at the store, I was grocery shopping at Walmart and they had stuffed peeps like
Mm.
like a squishmallow, but like they had these gigantic ones. It was almost as tall as me, absolutely gigantic. If I put it in the cart, it takes up the whole cart. And I walked past it to get something, and I walked back, and then I walked back because I was like, I have to stop and like touch it. I had to take it out. I took it out. I took a picture of it. I had to just like touch it. I was like,
Right.
I want this so bad. This $30 gigantic
Mm-hmm.
peep bunny, like squishy stuffed. And I was like, Bridget, there is no reason in the world that you need this. What would you do with it? Where would I put it? Like, what I was like, I don't like, but something in me was just like, I love this thing so much.
I don't know, Bridget. It sounds like you're doing a great job getting in touch with your inner child. You know all that work that you've been doing? It sounds like it's paying off. Like, I don't know what I was like as a kid. We're starting to see some signs of what you were, in fact, like as a kid.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I wanted to say thank you for when uh when you were saying that like I probably wasn't alone in my experience of not exactly, being able to do the things that I wanted to do as a child. So now like looking back and being like, I don't know, I don't have those things. Like I think that I was feeling very alone in that because all of
Mhm.
the people that I saw that were like doing this practice were it just seemed like the way that they were talking about it was so like matter of fact. Like, oh, I just
Mhm.
tap into what I used to do when I was little. Or like, oh, it just seemed, and I was like, I can't access that. I don't know what that means. So thanks.
I am so happy I could reflect that back to you because I've also felt that. And I think I had maybe an easier time remembering, but I said that to you because when I cast my mind back to when I was small, a lot of what comes up is similar to what you described, feeling reserved and shy. And I remember feeling like I had to shrink, feeling really anxious and unsure a lot of the time. And I've been thinking about this a lot because the new therapist was like, well, how did your family describe you as like a kid? And I have asked them that before, or like they have talked about it in front of me before, and they described me the opposite that I felt. I was boisterous and entertaining and funny and like always on the go. And I didn't feel like that
Hmm.
when I thought about myself. But the more they talked about it, I was like, okay, oh, that was earlier. I'm remembering myself older when a lot of that
Hmm.
got buried. And I don't remember very well what it felt like to be that free. And so I would just assumed I was never like that because a lot of my early memories are of being anxious, like younger than 4, being just horribly anxious. But then when my family would talk about things, I'm like, oh, that's right. I did used to wear fairy wings for like 3 years of my life and put on plays and run up and down the hallway and like learn how to do pirouettes before I was ever in a dance class. Huh. Right. Forgot about that. And so when I would hear people talk about their inner child stuff, it did seem like these people had these memories so readily accessible. And it took me a while to find bits and pieces of that. And like, even now, as I'm like casting my mind back, like, what did I like to do when I was a kid? It doesn't feel like it's an answer. It feels like it just brings up more questions.
Interesting. I love that you use the phrasing casting my mind back because it makes me think of like, oh, you're like casting a spell.
Oh, thank you. I
Uh,
was thinking like I'm trying to hook
Fishing.
something. I'm trying to like I and it feels that way where it's just like a vast dark body of water and I don't know what's in there. And I'm
Yeah.
like a little nervous, but I'm like, well, they said the answer's over here, so I'll see what comes up. But like sometimes it's skeletons and stuff. Not exactly, well, I guess if you're me, you can make that delightful. But not everyone would think so.
Oh, this is all making me wonder, yeah, about my own stuff, about what maybe is back there that I don't remember or think about. Like that photo that I just showed you. I was like, I want to tap back into that. That little kid looks insane, right? She's just right, like that was in there.
She's having a nice time.
Yeah, but then like right, like at what certain point? I don't know. I guess I wonder like what I'm remembering and what I'm not remembering and or accessing and but yes, I knew that she was in there, and that's
Yeah.
why I specifically went and looked for like this like photo because I knew that I wasn't remembering that part of myself and I wanted to visually see it and I knew there were photographs
Mm-hmm.
um at least like that small. That's pretty small.
Yeah, that's small.
Um yeah, I would be interested to see what people would say like how I was like little. But I
Hmm.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
I'm just gonna text you.
Secrets. I have to go grab my phone though. But actually,
And
this is a good opportunity. Do you want to see a photo of me little that I've been looking at a lot?
yes,
Okay, I'm gonna go get my baby photo. Hello, I'm back.
welcome back.
So I don't have very many childhood photos with me. My mom has a lot more, but I have a couple, and this is one of them. And it just it makes me giggle every time I look at her. And so this is me wearing my sister's glasses,
Oh,
wearing a t-shirt from a vacation that I don't even know if I was on. I don't remember it. Um, where I think this was, yeah, Ocean City. And so and it says Ocean City, Maryland. And I don't, maybe my family went there. That shirt looks too big. I think that this was a vacation my sisters got to go on. And I'm just wearing hand-me-downs and I stole my sister's glasses. And I'm just so sassy, like hands on hips, like, yeah, I'm wearing these glasses. Like, what? But like amused, like, I know that I am being very cute right now. And
mhm.
someone needs to have photographic memory of how cute I am.
Oh.
And I don't remember really feeling that confident, but this is how my family describes me of
Hmm.
like being like when they say like, oh, I was like always entertaining, it was like this, whereas like I liked being looked at. I don't
Hmm.
have that anymore and I want it back.
I was gonna say one thing. Isn't it interesting that like way back then, if it was like, oh, I'm feeling a certain way, like let's have a photo of this. That was like a way bigger deal to take a photo of something than it is now, right?
Yeah, this wasn't just like someone pulled out their phone real quick, like,
Yeah, it was like you would have to like find a camera
uh-huh.
and then eventually like you get it developed and go and pay for the pictures.
Yeah. Of
And
what? Just like me standing in a living room wearing my sister's clothes? Oh, I guess I might have mentioned this on here before, but like my sisters are 6 and 8 years older than me. So like that's a big gap. It's not like, oh, my like 2 years older sister. No, this is 6 to 8 years. This is a teenager's glasses, practically. What's math? Okay, maybe not quite teenager, but like on her way.
I can't wait
I
till
don't
you
remember
mm,
feeling like that.
I can't wait till you read my text, and I don't know if you remember the specific story that is triggered by those two words, but you'll
You're gonna
you
have to refresh me. As soon
yeah,
as you start
yeah,
talking about it,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure
yeah.
I'll remember.
Um, and I think that it's interesting that you say that you don't have that in you from that photo of the like, I'm confident, look at me, because I feel like you do and you don't see it.
I've just got to go real quick.
Or
Ugh.
I feel like you are already in the process of reclaiming that. And I
This
don't know if
is,
you realized that.
I had to go real quick because I have this conversation with my mom so often where I'm practicing being more honest about my mental health and just what's weighing on me. So when I talk to my mom and we're talking about stuff, I am being more honest about how insecure or anxious I feel. And um, when I bring that up, she's like, I believe you and I don't understand because you've been performing your whole life. Like you actively seek opportunities to learn something and then let people look at you doing it. And um I feel very called out because she's right. Like, I have been doing that since literally my whole life. I go on, there's been years where I've done it less or more. I go on hiatus, but I have, since I was little, never stopped learning and then trying to perform it in some capacity. And yet, I have this hurdle to get past every time of feeling like I do not know how to be perceived. It
Mm.
feels very uncomfortable. And what I think I'm realizing now is it's conditioning. Like there were a lot of times in my life where it was seen as something to be embarrassed about, wanting attention, which
Mm-hmm.
is literally what every
Mm-hmm.
single human on this planet is wired to want.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of shame built up
Yeah.
around it. And so, yeah, I've been performing in some way most of my life. And I think that's why I got by mostly in day-to-day life because a lot of my life was also a performance. I'm fine. I'm not bothered. Sure, I'm getting bullied day in
Mm.
and day out, and it's constant and I'm exhausted. But I'll do this test. I'll pretend like everything's okay. I'm always okay. So it's a weird like superpower that had its purpose and also fun, but also was maladaptive and um, wasn't serving me later on in profound ways. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
very tricky knot to untangle.
Mm-hmm. I loved what you just did there.
What was it?
Oh, you had like a great facial expression while you did this thing because you were untying the knot, but you pulled them both down like that and had this face, and it was great. I can't wait to
Oh,
watch it back.
okay. I'll have to look at it later. Because you know what was happening is that thing I told you about that is frustrating where I can't hear what I'm about to say until it's already coming out of my mouth and then I can't replay it back after it's gone. So I think I was trying to use my hands to help me get my point across, which is great if you're just listening to this, very helpful. But if you're watching, maybe that will give you a little extra clue to what I was trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
I think Neptune is up to something because I am a mess. I feel
What's
very I feel very wishy-washy.
Tell
Like
me about what's Neptune do?
I'm not sure, but I feel like I should look it up because I feel like well, it is Pisces season, so Neptune, like, I think does get up to a lot of shenanigans during Pisces season because it's a very dreamy, um, illusion type planet. But I don't know. Today has been something extra special. Not today. This week has been something extra special. I feel very in between. Yeah, it's like liminal space where lots of things are overlapping in a way that feel discombobulating, I think is the word I want. Spacey. I think I'm just overwhelmed and adrift.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm not
I
laughing
am.
at you. I'm not laughing at you. I'm like that just feels it feels like you're talking for both of us here. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
why I'm laughing. Feels about right.
Oh,
I think we're doing a great job.
you know what? We are, because we both are feeling, I think, a lot. And we're still upright.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I put on lipstick. You did your hair. We're wearing clothes. We're doing such a good job.
I love that you were just like, you did your hair? Because I am struggling so much with my hair.
It looks great. So, whatever struggle you had to do to get it to look like this, A++. You look very well taken care of.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks.
welcome.
I appreciate it. Yeah, and we've got clothes on. Yeah, we're doing it.